One of the other things that's unique to our area is the number of tornadoes occurring at night. Highly prone to night tornadoes. In fact, we get more here than just about anywhere else on the planet. Why that is, would take somebody that knows a lot more than me to explain. But typically, your really severe weather is going to take place sometime between, say, 2 in the afternoon and 9 o'clock at night. But there are always exceptions.
Welcome to another edition of Community Insider. Join us as we travel Middle Tennessee, uncovering history and experiencing the adventure of unique stories and events coming to you inside your community.
I'm Chuck Haston, Director at Warren County 911 Center, and I have been here 19 years. We are greatly impacted by the weather, severe weather especially. In fact, weather dictates our scheduling, the way we operate, the priority on calls that we process. Weather is a great factor in the operation at a 911 center. So, given that this is springtime and weather in our area can always be tricky, I wanted to show you a couple of ways that you can prepare yourself for severe weather. They're very easy, doesn't take much time at all. But I'm going to go through what we do here when we consider what the outlook for severe weather might be for Warren County. And behind me, you can see this is the National Weather Service webpage, Nashville. Easy to get to. You can just search Nashville NWS, Nashville Weather Service, or weather.gov/Nashville. Several ways to get to it. It's a great site, pretty simple, but the first thing that we do in the springtime, especially when severe weather is in the forecast, is we go from top to bottom on this. A lot of great information here. This is what your tax money pays for, and I believe it goes toward a good use when it comes to the National Weather Service. And we view our relationship with them as a partnership. We receive some briefings from them prior to any severe weather, pretty in-depth briefings. But this is a great place to start. It's maintained well. It's new information every couple of hours. And you can also monitor ongoing weather events. At the bottom, this is an example of maybe a 1 or 2 sheet outlook for the possibility of severe weather. But this is always a great place to start. I like weather anyway, so I look at it all the time, but it doesn't take long to pull up and view, just to be aware. In my opinion, 90% of a positive outcome in severe weather is just knowing about it. So this is one way that we educate ourselves. Another is, for those of you who kind of want to get a little deeper into it, it's called the SPC, Storm Prediction Center. The SPC's job is to provide outlooks on the potential for severe weather. And it gets very in-depth and detailed. But again, this is another tool that we use. There's some information about past weather events. And it's really a lot of neat science going on there. If you want to take another step further, again, your tax dollars are paying for it, and I believe it goes to good use here. Now, in the moment, when severe weather is actually happening, we use this. It's the National Weather Service SAFER dashboard, and this is for emergency responders. You can use it. There's no prohibition against anyone going to this page. But this gives us information about ongoing severe weather events, tornado warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings. Has live radar, which is updated. You don't have to go in and refresh it. And you can zoom down to the level that you want to go to, and it will give you all that information. You can actually go in and read the details on the warnings. So this would be a tool that we use during a severe weather event. It's just a great situational awareness tool because when you're dispatching, taking calls, you kind of need it simple and to the point. This has several tabs at the top, but this is the one we use the most. As far as getting the word out about severe weather, we have television meteorology or things like weather radio, which I would always encourage people to consider. But also your phone. And nowadays, it's a lot easier to get severe weather information into people's hands, literally, than blowing a siren. We still do that. I hope someday we'll get away from that because the technology exists now really to, in a very accurate way, get that information straight to your hands. The Weather Service is presently seeking input, which means considering a change, of even narrowing even more the areas that are warned, so that if you're not in that area, your phone is not making noise and like it would be, say, for an Amber Alert. So they're trying to narrow that down because the technology is such that allows them just the areas that are affected within the county. So it might be affecting your neighbor across the street, but not you, so you wouldn't get that. But me, I kind of like to know what's going on, big picture-wise. A couple of things that I think is important people know about how the phone alerts work. On your cell phone, there's a service or software running called Wireless Emergency Alerts, WEA. And that's in your settings. So, for example, on an iPhone, you can go to your settings, go down to, I believe it's in the apps section. But anyway, it's in your phone. You can go down and make sure that those are turned on. So you want your phone to be enabled to receive government wireless emergency alerts. Those are typically sent from TEMA, Tennessee Emergency Management Agency in Nashville. But you always want to make sure those are on. And it's the same alert that you would get for an Amber Alert. This information actually is free and will keep you safe. The wireless emergency alerts, and if you have a question about how to do it on, say, an Android versus an iPhone, it's real easy to pull up on the internet to see. Just double check that. And I always encourage people on social media when I make posts occasionally to double check their phones that maybe you hadn't turned that off. Very important. But we have some great technology that gets this information into your hands. People are curious sometimes why our part of the world is prone to severe weather. There are a couple of reasons for that. Middle Tennessee, the source of the moisture for our storms and our weather comes from the Gulf of Mexico. So there's several ingredients that you need to create severe weather. One being moisture. You need something to lift that warm, moist air into the atmosphere, a lifting mechanism they call it. That can be a cold front, can be just a wave of energy that passes through. But we happen to be right in the area, North Alabama, Athens, Huntsville, this area right in here, just to the south and southwest of us, where these things collide. And many times we are the beneficiary of some of that up here where we live. Some of the strongest tornadoes on record actually have occurred in this area right here. North Alabama. For those of you old enough like me to remember April the 3rd, 1974, one of the strongest tornadoes on record occurred in this area right here. And it devastated a little town called Guin, Alabama. Bona fide EF5 or F5 at the time. One of the strongest tornadoes to ever hit in the Southeast. As a matter of fact, satellite pictures picked up the track of that particular storm. One of the other things that's unique to our area is the number of tornadoes occurring at night. We are Tennessee, this area, North Alabama, all the way back to Jackson, Memphis, this entire area that you see here, let me drag it this way a little bit, highly prone to night tornadoes. In fact, we get more here than just about anywhere else on the planet. Why that is, would take somebody that knows a lot more than me to explain. But typically, your really severe weather is going to take place sometime between, say, 2 in the afternoon and 9 o'clock at night. But there are always exceptions, like the tornado that hit our friends in Cookeville a year ago, Nashville. That system was all by itself out here to the west of Nashville, and you could watch that move all the way across. And I believe it came into Cookeville sometime after midnight. And then, if you recall, I believe it was maybe in December, I think it was, we had a tornado that traveled from Arkansas clear up into Kentucky, and that was a devastating storm. So these long track tornadoes, when you hear the term from the weather folks on TV talking about long track tornadoes, that should get your attention to maybe dig in a little further and see what's in store. But keep in mind, 90% of a good outcome with severe weather, as I mentioned, is just knowing about it. And it doesn't take long, just a couple of minutes to think about what you're going to do if you're at work. Put on a baseball helmet. There are all kinds of things that you can think about, and a lot of information online through the Weather Service to guide you. But weather here, maybe I'm the exception, but weather here for us dictates how the day's going to go, and then what issues we might face later in the day afterward. So it's a big part of our day, and if it just takes a couple of minutes to get online, check your phone, just be aware of what the weather is. And again, that's 90% of it. I don't recommend chasing storms. They are fascinating. One interesting thing that I'll leave you with has to do with weather radar. And the Weather Service has a great weather radar display here that you can turn on from anywhere. They really made this nice, where all of the weather radar installations are overlaid. You don't see one from here and one from there. They're all put together. But Nashville, the Doppler weather radar in Nashville, once you get out around Warren County, if you think about it, the earth curves, that radar beam is sweeping level, and so it's seeing a higher part of the storm when it gets to us. I've heard anywhere from 6 to maybe 8,000 feet where they're looking. So they can't see what's happening close to the ground as well as they could, say, if you were in Murfreesboro. There's another radar installation just to the, up here on a hill, just to the northeast of Huntsville, a place called High Top. As the crow flies, it's maybe even a tad closer than the Nashville installation is. But the further away you are from the antenna itself, the higher up in the storm, the radar beam is passing simply because of the curvature of the Earth, which is kind of interesting to me. I know that there's some advancements, a lot of smart people who involved in the Weather Service, much smarter than I am, but there are a lot of advanced technologies in play with the weather radar systems they're using now. In fact, weather radar now, Doppler radar can pick up debris in the air. And you never want to see that, but that's one way to confirm, and a tool that they use to confirm that yes, there is a tornado. Lastly, the spotter program. Now, I'm a nerd, I'm a weather nerd, but I really enjoyed the spotter program that was offered by the Weather Service in Nashville. In fact, you can do it remotely. You don't have to go anywhere. And you learn a lot of interesting things about the weather. But one of the things they always leave you with is that it doesn't matter the technology that exists in the field today as far as radar goes, they still depend on people, trained spotters, to confirm what's actually happening on the ground, or the ground truth associated with severe weather. So you can reach these classes. They take about an hour and a half, and they have the schedule posted on their website. And these are all basic. They have a basic and an advanced class. You can actually do it all on your phone if you want, but it's free. And it's really interesting if you like weather. And you get to hear from the actual meteorologists who are making the decisions about how to keep us posted on weather. It's really fascinating. So I would highly recommend that you do that. The deal with the Skywarn is the spotter network. And so there's a way, and you're provided that information when you take the spotter class. And so you are out on behalf of the Weather Service, watching and seeing what's happening on the ground, hopefully from a safe distance. And then you report that to the Weather Service because they still depend on that. That program was formed right after the April 3rd, 1974 tornado outbreak. And you know, if you like weather like I do, it'd be right in your wheelhouse. It's free, and again, it's your tax dollars at work. I happen to think that it's money well spent as far as I'm concerned, because we make a lot of decisions based on the Weather Service, including activating the tornado sirens in the city of McMinnville. We do that based on information from the Weather Service.
We hope you're enjoying the program, and we want to hear from you, maybe for some show ideas or for more information about what we do and how we can tell your next story. Give us a call today at 931-409-7151, or simply just email us at communitytvtn, all one word, at gmail.com, or check out our website at www.communitytvtn.com. We would love to hear from you. Send us your email, communitytvtn@gmail.com. Hello, I'm Jonathan Womack, and stay tuned to this edition of Community Insiders. We take a look at severe weather in the Middle Tennessee area, and we will be going back behind the scenes of the local radio station, WAKI, WBMC, Wow Country 105.3. Of course, the local radio station here in McMinnville, it serves several counties, and so this is going to give you some behind-the-scenes look at what they provide for us when it comes to severe weather. So stay tuned. That and much more is coming up on this edition of Community Insiders.
Severe weather coverage continues. A tornado warning now for our friends over in the DeKalb County area. Now this tornado warning is stretched quite a bit.
When it comes down to severe thunderstorm warnings, we make sure that we try and track those out as they lead and are around Warren County. And so that's just one of the things that we've got the guys around here, and ladies too, kind of keeping their eye out for.
Jackie, if you could just sort of tell us what you are doing here now, and sort of some warnings maybe to the people, and sort of what your personnel's been doing since the tornado come through.
Well, since the tornado came through, we've assembled quite a few different people. The DeKalb counties come to help us, the rescue squads, fire departments, goodness gracious, state troopers. We could go on and on, the different people that responded, a lot of citizens. And we've got our command post here now, and this is our central location where we come together and plan out our strategies on how we want to do things. We've had a lot of damage here in our community from this storm, and so we're trying to assess the damage. We're going to, of course, provide security tonight because we're worried about people coming and looting the places. So right now, that's what we're trying to do. We've got numerous roads that's blocked off. Power companies working right now trying to restore, fix the lines and things of that nature. So it's a tremendous undertaking and a lot of help here tonight, so we're very thankful for that.
Hi, I'm Dick Rice, Operations Manager here for PEG Broadcasting, and of course we do a lot of severe weather coverage when the weather hits, and one of the things we do is we take over all 4 radio stations that we have here with the air chain and broadcast on all 4 simultaneously.
Earlier in the morning, looks like they're going to be okay. Hi, I'm Jeff Hars with PEG Broadcasting. I've been in radio for going on 27 years, and I've been with PEG Broadcasting ever since they purchased Clear Channel back in 2008. I've been back in McMinnville since 1993 and started in McMinnville from 1986 to 88. Being in it in a long time, as far as the weather goes, I've seen a lot of changes over the years. Most of the time we got our stuff by reading on the paper. A teletype would tell us the information. We weren't privy to internet back then, but whenever the internet did come along, computers came along, it kind of changed the way things were for us. We were able to use the National Weather Service and pull up radar and kind of look at how things are done that way. Now that we have WeatherTap, which a lot of you can get WeatherTap on your computer too, which you can see with us, see what we're seeing. It's weathertap.com, and you get a 2-week trial if you want to download that. The graphics are so much better. It's in full color. It's what you see on TV. It's what the Nashville stations have, and we have it too. And it enables us to get the word out a little quicker. We can track the storms on how they're going. We can, and now today, used to we didn't have a lot of time, to tell you, just a few minutes. Now we can go up to 30 minutes or more, knowing if a storm is, say, in Lincoln County and it's moving northeast toward Warren County, we know within 30, 45 minutes, and we can track it on how long it's going to hit. And it shows up all the communities, but before it was just counties. Now we can see each community that's going to be hit, and we know the exact time that it's going to be hit. We know how fast it's going. So we've seen a lot of changes over the years. And with the addition of Facebook too, people can comment on our Facebook pages on Star 107 and also on 105.3 Wild Country. You can let us know, get us information if there's damage in the area. If you've seen hail, heavy rains, damaging winds in your area. That's one of the greatest ways that you can get information to us is through our Facebook page, and we can get it out immediately because we have our computers in there. We're not only keeping up to date with what's going on as far as the weather goes, but we can also keep you up to date as far as Facebook too.
Now, for our friends over in the DeKalb County area. Now this tornado warning is stretched quite a bit across the upper portion of the Upper Cumberland area, as it stretches the northern portion of DeKalb, also Putnam and Overton, and also Smith as well there in Jackson County. Again, it doesn't really affect here in Warren County, but some of our folks there in the Smithville area, where potentially this storm could clip that area where they saw the fatality just on Wednesday in that area. And again, this, oh boy, this thing is packing a pretty punch here, Jeff.
And we feel like any time that we're on the air, because if you're on the air for continuous minutes to hours, you need all the information that you can get. Plus, it's a great service that it lets you know so far in advance. You can get the information out there in plenty enough time that people can be safe when any kind of warning happens.
Hi, I'm Brian Kell, General Manager of PEG Broadcasting here in McMinnville. Duke and the guys have already talked a little bit about what all goes on when it comes down to the weather warnings that we produce out of our radio stations. And one of the things that you may hear is the voice that comes on talking about tornado warnings. And so whenever the National Weather Service ends up firing those out of Nashville, we've got our system set up, which is our Sage EAS Index machine here. And what that does is anytime there's a tornado warning in Warren and surrounding counties, it takes over our air chains on all 4 stations here in McMinnville, also in our 2 stations in Sparta.
Northern DeKalb County in Middle Tennessee, Western Jackson County in Middle Tennessee, Western Putnam County in Middle Tennessee, Smith County in Middle Tennessee, Southern Trousdale County in Middle Tennessee, Eastern Wilson County in Middle Tennessee, until 5:15 p.m. Central Standard Time. At 4:39 p.m. Central Standard Time, trained weather spotters reported a funnel cloud 6 miles southeast of Lebanon. A tornado may develop at any time. Doppler radar showed this dangerous storm moving east at 50 miles per hour. In addition to a tornado, large hail to baseball size and winds to 70 miles per hour.
And it produces a tape each time that it is broadcast. This will give you some idea on today, March 2nd, 2012, on what we've been through in Warren and surrounding counties. This is everything from severe thunderstorm warnings all the way to tornado warnings, and so it's quite a sizable list. Probably the most important place in this building, and one that we leave up to Anthony Griffith to be able to make sure that everything's firing well back here. So we try and leave Anthony in this place in as good a shape as possible, because if we've got problems inside this room, it's bad. So Anthony does a fantastic job, and he's been working here for us for close to 4 years now at PEG Broadcasting and taking care of our engineering needs, and he follows a long line of guys that have overseen engineering needs on the radio side over many decades here in the nursery capital. So that's about it from a storm coverage standpoint. You never want to be in these kind of situations, especially just over the past couple of days with there being fatalities in DeKalb County and also in Cumberland County. I think when you start looking back, you go, wow, you know, able to work with so many different people and listeners and being able to get that information out to folks, it's critical, and it's something that we take very seriously up here at PEG Broadcasting.
And again, we are keeping an eye on what's happening here. And for the latest severe weather, if you've not joined our text club, you can do so by simply typing in the keyword severe, WX, all one word, to 67664 on your mobile device. Again, put severe WIX in the message in the body and send that to the number 67664, and you'll get the latest severe warnings when they come out.